Replay. It's viewer-submitted deck winner number 2. Progenitus, will I win? Can we find one of our 14 win combos before getting overrun by Szadek, Ruric, Thar, or Slimefoot? Find out next on Commander Replay. Welcome back, everyone. Viewer-submitted deck winner number 2, Progenitus, Will I Win? This is a deck featuring many combo wins. However, the deck runs no tutors, and a lot of the win conditions are pretty janky. So this is sort of like a you win the game tribal kind of deck. And I thought it was a pretty interesting thing to do, so I'm excited to see what this deck can do. I did try one game with it already, and there were some stronger decks in that game, and that's not where this deck wants to be playing, so I named this game Casual Decks. As far as I know, this deck can't win quickly, and because we're not using tutors, you really have to draw a lot of cards and wait for the game to go pretty long to find your win conditions, so... Anyway, congratulations to Stowfill on their deck submission. Our turn 1, we draw into a Burnished Heart. I'm going to lay down one of the tap lands. We'll go for the Seaside Citadel. So as I mentioned, our commander is Progenitus. It's white, white, blue, blue, black, black, red, red, green, green for a 10/10 protection from everything. If it would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, reveal it and shuffle it into its owner's library. So only card in the game that says protection from everything. And when they say everything, they mean everything. It cannot be blocked. It cannot be targeted. It can't have auras attached to it. And any damage dealt to it by anything is reduced to 0. Nature's Lower for the Slimefoot opponent. Ooh, we draw a Vidalcan Orrery. We'll go with another tap land. We don't have anything to do with 2 mana right here. Taking a look at what our opponents are playing, first up we have Szadek, Lord of Secrets, is 3 blue blue black black for a 5/5 flying. If it would deal damage to a player, instead put that many +1/+1 counters on it, and that player puts that many cards from the top of their library into their graveyard. So probably a mill deck, and certainly a commander that I very rarely ever see. Next up we have Ruric Thar. Ruric Thar is not the friendliest against our deck. 4 red-green, Vigilance, Reach. Attacks each turn if able, and whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, Ruric Thar does 6 damage to that player, so pretty rough against spell-based decks, and we have many spells, so not the best. Right here, we'll go Plains, and then I think Darksteel Ingot, and that'll give us more mana to work with next turn, which I like. And then finally, our final opponent is Slimefoot the Stowaway, is 1 black-green for a 2/3. Whenever a sapling you control dies, Slimefoot deals 1 damage to each opponent, and you gain 1 life. You may pay 4 to create a 1/1 green sapling token deck, so it's going to be probably a sapling combo-focused kind of deck. I haven't actually seen much of Slimefoot yet, other than the one time I ran into it on the EDH Lounge. Otherwise, I haven't really been seeing it in the normal Magic Online games that I've been playing. So, not entirely sure what to expect. I know that Keen Sense is really good on Slimefoot. Anyway, a Ruric the Dragonclaw coming down for the Ruric Thar opponent. Formidable. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if creatures you control have total power 8 or greater, target creature you control gains haste until end of turn. Not bad. Not bad. So, Slimefoot makes a token. And that brings it back to our turn. There's a Darksteel Reactor. What to do this turn? I think this turn we lay down the Temple Bell. One of the big things, I just want to keep making land drops. There's a near-death experience, which is a complete non-boho with Felidar Sovereign. Oh, by the way, we need to talk about all the win conditions that exist in this deck. So here is the list of win combos in the deck. Maze's End, Laboratory Maniac, Biovisionary, Hellkite Tyrant, Felidar Sovereign, Darksteel Reactor, Helix Pinnacle, Miles Aria, Mortal Kombat, Mechanized Production, Revel in Riches, Near-Death Experience, Barren Glory, and Approach the Second Sun. And what's interesting is that some of these combos overlap. There are certain cards, like Gilder Baron is involved in a few of the combos that involve putting counters on things. So that'd be like Miles Aria, Darksteel Reactor, and Helix Pinnacle. And there's an interesting trick listed in here to actually get counters on Helix Pinnacle. Apparently we use the Gemstone Array, and I guess Necrotic Ooze. We can proxy things to get counters on the Helix Pinnacle. Anyway, the creator has a really well-written set of instructions on how to play the deck. I'll post the deck list down below. You guys should definitely check it out. So, Ruric swings into the Slimefoot opponent, and Slimefoot goes down to 35. That's a Helm of the Host. Who brought removal? I don't know if this deck has any removal. Let's take a look. Sword of the Animus coming down for Slimefoot. We have Wrath of God in hand, so maybe we need to use that. Let's Temple Bell, draw some cards. Come on, land. Not a land. It's a Civilized Scholar. I know that's involved in some of our combos. Right here, I'm going to lay down the Vidalcan Orrery. because I have a feeling that, like, if anyone has a Vandal Blast or something, they're definitely going to play that to try to take down this Helm of the Host. Szadek probably doesn't have anything, but Ruric Thar might have some artifact removal in red. The question is whether it's spot removal or whether it is Vandal Blast type of stuff. Ooh, Szadek Lord of Secrets coming down. I didn't think we were at that point of the game yet. Opponent's ramped up to 7 mana already. Impressive. How'd they do that? Oh, they had a Dreadship Reef. They put some storage counters on the Dreadship Reef. That makes sense. Ruric Thar coming into play. Yeah, don't cast spells. They're going to cost a lot of life. And Ruric Thar will get haste. Opponent's going to double block. Interesting. That's actually really good because that's going to kill both commanders. And that means that both players are going to have to recast both commanders, which is just a huge mana sink. They cost 7 and 6 mana respectively. So opponents are going to have to tap out for a lot of mana at some point in this game, which is good for us because our deck is also not fast. So anything to buy time is what we need, I think. Opponent's going to put the Helm of the Host on the Slimefoot. Going to go to combat, get a copy of the Slimefoot. Decides not to attack anyone. We draw land. Lands are good, especially blue. I like blue right here. We'll wait to Temple Bell. We're going to play things with Flash and play them at the end step and so on and so forth. Actually, funny enough, we could just flash down this Felidar Sovereign. That would actually just win the game, theoretically. Slimefoot's going to create a Saproling. Actually, more than likely, the Slimefoot will probably blow up some Saprolings, and our life total will not be 40 when it comes back to our turn. Would be a fair expectation. Astral Cornucopia coming in, X2. Yeah, that just doesn't seem worth it to me. Unless you're playing a +1/+1 counter deck, like a Traxa. I don't know if that's where you want to be. Especially in a 2-color deck. In a 2-color deck, you shouldn't need that much color fixing. I'll just take a Thran Dynamo in that slot. Thanks. Gilded Lotus is better. I mean, you'd have to sink so much mana into that thing to get X3 on it. But I guess this is a casual game, so I guess I'm missing the point, which is that people are playing decks that aren't completely optimal. Wave of Wow, whatever that word is. Each player sacrifices all artifacts, enchantments, and non-basic lands they control. For each land sacrificed this way, its controller may search their library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield tapped. Then each player who searches this way shuffles their library. Interesting. Artifacts, enchantments, non-basic lands, which means creatures will stay alive. However, Burnished Heart is an artifact, so that's not where we want to be, really. Next question is, find out how many basics are in the deck. Okay, there's a handful of basics in the deck. Helm of the Host will get sacrificed. That's good. That makes me less nervous about the Slimefoot. We are going to lose Temple Bell, so I guess we draw a card right here. It's a land. Oh, wow, it sacrifices? Wow. So I guess then we just run out a bunch of mana. Let's get the Burnished Heart down. Sacrifice the Burnished Heart. Get some basics. We'll get a blue and a black. We lose a lot of lands, a lot of lands, and a lot of color fixing. Also, now that a Boros Guildgate is in the graveyard, that means that our Maze's End win condition is no longer available to us. I don't think there's a way to get lands back with this deck. I don't know every single card in it. Use the ability, and give me as many lands as we possibly can. I feel much less good about our color fixing at this juncture. Solemn Simulacrum dies, opponent's going to get to draw a card. Ooh, that's an attrition. Ooh. So opponent will be able to shoot creatures like crazy. There's a Guildgate. Well, Guildgates don't help us so much anymore. So we'll play the Frontier Bivouac. I don't know how to say that word. Opponent only has 1 black mana, and I doubt they're going to use it on this Civilized Scholar. So Civilized Scholar, and then Darksteel Reactor. Get the Darksteel Reactor going. Obnixilis Unshackled coming into play. 4/4 Flying Trample. Whenever an opponent searches their library, that player sacrifices a creature and loses 10 life. Whenever another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Obnixilis. Seems pretty good. It's a card I've always thought about running in my Shieldred deck, but just never quite seems to make the cut. The 6 converted mana cost slot in mono black is really, really crowded. There are so many things to run in that slot, and it's just, you can't fit all the ones you want. You choose between Obnixilis, Dread, Geth, Lord of the Vault. You pretty much have to include Grave Titan. I really like Necropolis Regent. What's the other one that whenever a permanent goes to the graveyard, you draw? Kothoped, Soul Hoarder. So many good 6-drops. Unfortunately, you can't play mono 6-drops because your deck just isn't going to function right. Drum Hunter coming into play for the Ruric Thar opponent. Caller of the Claw. 2/2 with Flash. When it enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 bear creature token for each non-token creature put into your graveyard from play this turn. They appear to get no tokens at this juncture. Shurok gonna give the Drum Hunter haste and no attacks. End step, opponent is gonna use Attrition, targeting the Shurok, and that gets a bunch of Slimefoot triggers and an Obnixilis trigger. So we go down to 38 off of the double Slimefoot trigger. Pitiless Plunderer. Whenever another creature you control dies, create a treasure token. Yeah, seems good. So back to our turn. Darksteel Reactor is going to trigger. Gets a counter. There's an Elvish Visionary. We draw more cards. We'll use a Civilized Scholar. Another land. I do want to keep making land drops. I guess we get rid of the Guildgate since the Maze's End plan is already gone. Play the Elvish Visionary. Get to draw another card. Ooh, we have Wall of Blood and Near-Death Experience. Play the land. Unfortunately, with Slimefoot hanging around, that plan's not going to work. So we need to get rid of Slimefoot is what needs to happen, which we can do with this Wrath of God. Question is, so if we do this now, it'll take us 8 mana. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have enough mana to play Wall of Blood and Near-Death Experience the following turn. So yeah, I guess we play the Wrath of God right here. So bunch of things trigger. Opponent will get some treasure tokens. Didn't think about that. Slimefoot's going to trigger a couple times. A bunch of would-be counters go on the Obnixilis, but it is also dead, so no big deal there. We need to get the Slimefoot opponent to not cast their commander for a turn, and we might be able to make this combo work. For C for the Szadek opponent. White of Precinct 6. And opponent's going to play a natural state on the Dimir Signet. That just doesn't seem worth it. It feels like there's got to be better things to hit than a Signet. I mean, there aren't specifically at this moment in play, but I think you're better off just holding on to the natural state. There might be something worse than it, you don't know. That kills a Sword of X and Y. Don't know who's going to be running those. The White of Precinct 6 is a 9/9. That's something. Molten Primordial. Opponent's gonna borrow that White of Precinct 6 for a turn. Man, I wish the Vidalcan Orrery was still around. It would make landing this combo so much easier. Basically just have to hope that opponents don't read the cards and figure out what they do. Otherwise, I'm sure they're gonna have something to say about it. So Molten Primordial takes control of the White of Precinct 6, and let's see where they attack. Gonna send the White back at the Szadek opponent, and the Molten Primordial to the Slimefoot opponent. So they drop to 28 and 33, and control gets returned at the end step. Oracle of Moldiah coming down for the Slimefoot opponent. Need them to not hit a million lands off the top. There's a Zulaport Cutthroat, which is actually also not great since it can mess with our life total. There's a Parallel Lives coming down. Yeah, that seems interesting. Use the Darksteel Reactor. Draw another Guildgate. Play the Guildgate. Because we're still at 36, I'm torn of just playing the Felidar Sovereign and... Well, I guess if we do that, then they just attack us, and that's also not great. So let's play the Near-Death Experience. We'll get that out there. We've only got 4 mana left. I was hoping to have enough to get both Psychotog and the Wall of Blood down. This turn we'll play Psychotog just because I think it'll be a... Actually, no, we'll play the Wall of... Yeah, let's just run the Wall of Blood out there. Let's just try it. Going super exposed on our combo. But if we need to, we can make the Wall of Blood big enough to block potential incoming creatures, which I like. Mirko Vosk, Mind Drinker coming into play. There's a Warstorm Surge for the Ruric Thar. Life total should get low quickly. So let's see what Slimefoot does right here. Depending on what they decide to cast this turn, we'll decide whether we can try to go for this combo or not. Not showing a land off the top. That's good. Last thing we need is for them to get a million lands off the top of their library. Creekwood Liege. Okay. Creekwood Liege doesn't affect our life total. There's the Zulaport Cutthroat. So that means that we can't just go for the combo right here, because then they can sacrifice a creature and just kill us. Unfortunately, there's a Molten Primordial in play. Molten Primordial and Oracle of Moldiah are the only legal targets for the attrition currently. Darksteel Reactor going to get another counter on it. Opponent says GG. I don't think... Well, the beginning of our upkeep's already passed. So our time to activate that ability is already come and gone. I don't think opponent realizes that they can respond to it based on that. We have a Laboratory Maniac in our hand. Nah, not the most helpful. Can we cast our commander? Let's find out. No, we're one colored short of casting our commander. So I guess in the meantime, we cast Psychotog. Oh, the Slimefoot just scooped it. They don't realize that they can affect our life total. Yeah, man. All they had to do was just attrition something, and that stops our combo. So I guess we try it again next turn. Actually, I kind of wish I played the Felidar Sovereign there, too. But we've got some blockers in Wall of Blood and Psychotog that can get reasonably large. And hey, if for some reason we get milled out completely, we can just play the Laboratory Maniac. Opponent's going to send both things into us. Say we just take the damage. We're going to be burning all of our life anyway, so what's it matter? Mirko Vosk hits us, and I believe that's going to mill us a bunch. That does mill a bunch. We lose Approach of the Second Sun, a bunch of lands, and a Compulsion. Now we have 18 cards in our graveyard. Tidings for our opponent. Going to draw, what is it, 4 cards? I think it's 4. Maybe it's 3. It's 3 or 4 cards. And there's a Damnation. Oh, this is interesting. So, with the Warstorm Surge, opponent just has to cast anything, and then we die, so we can't use the near-death experience. So, yep, there that goes. However, we can play the Faladar Sovereign on our turn and try going for that win condition. Lightning Greaves for the Szadek opponent. That will help them. They can actually recast their commander and get in with haste, which could impact things. Ooh, Steel Hellkite. Ugh. Warstorm Surge. Targeting the Szadek opponent. Charging Cinderhorn. Interesting card. No creatures attacked. Put a Fury counter on it. Then it deals damage equal to the number of counters. So we get hit with the Warstorm Surge trigger. Steel Hellkite is a real problem for us. Use the Darksteel Reactor. Guildgate, not what we needed. That will give us the color next turn to cast our commander. Right here, I say we just go for the Faladar Sovereign. We are down to 20 already from Charging Cinderhorn, Warstorm Surge, and a few other things. Mana Crypt for the Szadek. How do you say that one? Szadek? The S is silent, isn't it? Is the S silent? I don't know how to say it. Ooh, that's a Sword of Vengeance. Opponent passes with like 10 mana open. That seems really suspect. At least cast your commander. Do something. Arbor Colossus for our opponent. Opponent's going to dissolve that. Guess they don't like the reach on there. Want to be able to get through with their commander. There's a Crown of Doom for our opponent. Going to give control of it to us. Going to attack us with the Steel Hellkite. Yeah, they're going to get some choices on what they want to blow up. Luckily, we're spread out pretty good on our mana costs, so they'll only be able to hit one thing. My guess is they'll go for the Faladar Sovereign, but who knows. No blocks. Actually, no, they're all out of mana, so they can't even, they can't activate the Steel Hellkite. That's good. We go down to 13. Ooh, we might just die to, like, damage. It seems like a problem. Darksteel Reactor, get another counter. 25% there. I don't know if we're going to live long enough to get the other 75% on that. Oh, Guildgate, not what we needed. Yeah, I mean, I guess we just attack the Ruric Thar opponent. Try to gain some life back. Gain 4 life back, we go to 17. And cast our commander, mostly as a blocker. We just need something to block with. Can't stop the Steel Hellkite from coming in. Szadek's also got flying. Szadek's also got flying. But if anyone wants to try to get frisky on the ground, Progenitus can stop it. One thing this deck probably could use, and I don't know, you'd have to take out the Maze's End combo to be able to do this, but if you played all the pain lands, you can really easily manipulate your life total for near-death experience. And that's actually something that I may need to mess with at some point. Szadek, a Lord of Secrets coming into play. Gets equipped with the Sword of Vengeance. Gets equipped with the boots. Let's see where it's going. Swinging into the Ruric Thar opponent. Ruric Thar loses a bunch of cards, and Szadek gets 7 counters and goes to 14 power. Bloodsworn Steward for the Ruric Thar opponent. It's going to get to do 4 damage to a target. It's going to shoot it at the other opponent. Sounds good to me. They go down to 12. Steel Hellkite coming into the Szadek. Not really sure what the play is there. Opponent's just going to block. Steel Hellkite goes down. That's good news. Opponent didn't realize that Szadek was flying. Back to our turn, another counter on the Darksteel Reactor. Could really go for some big-time card draw right here. I don't know that this deck has any of that. But that's what I would love to see. Ooh, Phyrexian Arena, that's something. Let's get that down. Give the... Oh, we can't give the Crown of Doom back to its owner? Wow, we can't give it to the owner. We'll give it to the other opponent then. Have a Crown of Doom. I guess since our other opponent has a really high life total, we swing into them with the Progenitus. So send Progenitus their way. Opponent goes down to 22, 10 commander. Mana Crypt flip for the Szadek opponent. They win the flip. Opponent's going to swing back into the Ruric Thar. It's going to block with the Bloodsworn Steward, except the Sword of Vengeance does give trample. So 10 of that's still going to poke through. And mill 10 more cards off the top of their library. It's now got 24 power. Opponent gives Crown of Doom back to us. Yep, it's going to be the pass-around Crown of Doom game. Ruric Thar coming back to play. Crypt Incursion. Exile all creatures from target player's graveyard. You gain 3 life for each card exiled this way. That's probably a few. Oh my god, opponent goes to 69 life. That was a ton, apparently. They now have a really large exile pile. Yeah, there were a lot of creatures in opponent's graveyard. Come to think of it, Ruric Thar has been pretty careless with their creatures. Opponent's going to fire the Warstorm Surge back at the Szadek. From the ashes, destroy all non-basic lands. For each land destroyed this way, its controller may search their library for basic land and put it onto the battlefield. Ooh. Oh, that's going to get us really good. We have most of the basics in our deck, and we have 5 non-basics out currently. And I think we're only going to get like maybe 2-3 lands back on that exchange. That got us so much worse than it got everyone else. Got one from the blue-black opponent. Yeah, we're only getting 2 lands back, so we lost 3 lands on that deal. Ugh, it's not great. Charging Cinderhorn gets a counter. Brings it back to our turn. We get a Darksteel Reactor trigger and a Phyrexian Arena trigger. Oh, 2 lands? You kidding me? Play the lands. We can only play 1 land. Yep, we don't have any green cards. Ugh. Give the Crown of Doom over here. We could attack, but I'm not gonna because Ruric Thar can't swing in at us if our Progenitus is untapped. So I like that. So pass the turn. Need to draw into things that aren't lands. Oh, we go down to 11. Mana Crypt flip for the Szadek. Duskmantle Guildmage. Whenever a card is put into opponent's graveyard from anywhere, that player... Oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, which one of us does our opponent want to take down? Oh, he's going for the Ruric Thar opponent. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Yep. So, opponent's going down. All right. We're going to need to draw into something big. Ooh. 48 on Szadek. Darksteel Reactor ticking up. Phyrexian Arena drawing us another card. Come on, we need some big draws. That's not it. And... Oh, yeah, that's not going to do it. That is not going to do it. Anything we can do to survive, play a tap land. I guess we play the Laboratory Maniac just 'cause... Yeah, a piece of spot removal right here would go really good. Then the opponent would attack us and mill a bunch of our stuff, and we'd be pretty close to the Laboratory Maniac win. But I don't think that's going to happen. Not unless the opponent wants to block randomly. Ooh, that's an Ether Spouts. Yeah, that's going to be good game. So opponent activates the Duskmantle Guildmage, and this is going to do it. So opponent coming in, and once the Duskmantle triggers, then that's going to be that. Oh, opponent has to stack all the triggers. Yep, that's a lot of triggers. I mean, we got to 8 on this Darksteel Reactor without any assistance from anything. So that's something. Let's see what our next few cards were. Gilder Baron. Oh! So we had Gilder Baron and Maya's Ariel. Oh, man. Combo pieces. Combo pieces that we could have used. So many combo pieces. That would have stopped a lot of trouble. Yeah, we caught too many lands late in the game there. I like this deck because it's not often that I have to read and reread the instructions of how to play a deck properly. There are so many combos built into this deck that I've seen a couple of them before. I haven't seen them all rolled into one deck. There's a really interesting overlap in some of the combos where certain cards can be used in more than one combo. Which I thought was really interesting. So, yeah, really interesting deck. Not a deck that you expect to win with a lot. It's purely a deck that you would play for fun, probably in a lower power meta, because yeah, this deck, as far as I know, can't win quickly, and you're really just kind of sitting in there trying to assemble pieces to a combo. Unfortunately, in that game, there was a little bit too much mass removal. If we hadn't lost our Temple Bell so early, drawing more cards was really the answer. We needed to draw significantly more than we did to be able to kind of stay in that game. So with the near-death experience and the Wall of Blood, I mean, I couldn't anticipate that our opponent wouldn't know that they could stop the combo. At that point in time, like, if we paid all the life on the end step like we were supposed to, they could just activate Attrition and then we die. And that would be really bad from the Zulaport Cutthroat. So I don't feel like I can anticipate that they wouldn't know that they could stop our play. So we didn't take the line there. Now, if we did, we just would have won the game, because no one else had anything they could do about it. But yeah, so I mean, by the time they said GG, it was already too late. It was already into our upkeep, so that was unfortunate. Anyway, it's a fun deck, and it's really interesting. Like I said, I had to read and reread all of the combos numerous times. I had to have it up on another screen while playing the game just to make sure that I knew what combos I was looking at. So really fun deck. Congratulations to Candide on winning the second slot in the viewer submitted deck contest. So congratulations. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.